G'day guys, where's York here for York Talk, everything sales and business, coming to you live from this beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in downtown Brisbane. If you look outside here, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's absolutely fantastic and beautiful. We're a day away from winter. It's 23 degrees Celsius here. You know what? So we've got no excuses, have we? Because it's absolutely fantastic. And it's just like what we do here. You know, we've got no excuses in our life. We can't, make excuses for our own performance, our own business, our own sales targets, etc. Because, it's up to us. It's up to yourself as an individual to make sure we hit those. But what we want to cover today is through the week, we had a lot of emails, we had a lot of messages and phone calls to really look at coming to the end of this second quarter. We're 4 weeks away from the end of the quarter. In Australia, we're 4 weeks away from the end of the financial year, and everyone's budgets are coming up and their targets. And there's, you can see the boss, his face going red when he starts to look at the numbers, and is he going to hit his targets and budgets and get the bonuses, etc. So, now's a really critical time of the year that we need to really focus and strategize and look at our sales processes and make sure that we start to hit these and make sure we hit these targets coming up to the end of this second quarter. So I want to say thank you to everyone again who sent those these emails and the messages. We went through all of them. Hopefully we responded to every single person. And I want to say thanks to everyone who jumps on and shares this and likes this. I can see that Ruth has just joined. I can see Vez has just joined. And, I just want to say thank you so much because, without the community out there, it's no one gets this information, but the amount of the times that it gets shared and people like it and comment, it's really important. I want to say thank you. I think last week there was over 23,000 views that we had the interview with Sam Waller, and we had some absolute brilliant comments. And you know what, Sam's an absolute brilliant young entrepreneur for Steps Fitness. So so I want to say thanks again also to Sam for that interview last week. It was remarkable, mate, and I wish you all the success in 2017. So today, let's get moving with today. So let's talk about how to make sure we maintain, or how to make sure we increase our sales. And I'm not going to beat around the bush on this. I'm not going to sort of fluff it up. I'm not going to sort of give you, some of the generic answers which a lot of people give. I really want to make sure that we really maintain your performance that you've had so far this year and really smack out this second quarter. And it doesn't matter whether you're in, say, for example, the Northern Hemisphere where it's coming into summer, or you're in the Southern Hemisphere when it's coming into winter. We want to make sure that we maintain our results, and we want to have consistent results. We want to see that uptrend throughout the year. So what I've got here are the five critical reasons what stops people performing. 5 critical reasons why sales reduce, business reduces. It doesn't matter whether you're predominantly in sales or you own your own business. There's reasons why. And so the first one is, we've got 4 weeks left of the quarter. And you can see that through the last 5 months, you've probably had some up spikes. You've also probably had a few downward spikes. But one of the major reasons why sales drop off is plain and simple. Salespeople and business owners, etc., they prejudge their clients. They prejudge their prospects. They prejudge their actual clients if they want to try and upsell them or side sell. And when you start to prejudge, your figures deteriorate dramatically, and it's really like it's nearly like jumping off the cliff, because once you prejudge it once, you prejudge more often, and then after a while, it's like that snowball that sort of increased, and before you know it, you question yourself on your confidence and if you can do it anymore, why the sales process isn't working. But it's got nothing to do with your sales process. We're going to talk about that in the next couple of items we talk about here. So you just can't prejudge. You can't look at your client and think that what they can or can't do. You can't look at a prospect and determine whether or not they're going to purchase a high-end, a mid-end, or a low-end range of your product or service. Because at the end of the day, who are you to give those thoughts to your prospects, to your clients? Who are you to sit there and prejudge what they can or can't do? Our role, whether it's in business, whether it's in sales, whether we sell a product or service, is to understand what our processes are, make sure that our processes are accurate, present that process in your sales presentation or pitch as accurately as possible, more often as possible. And in the meantime, while you've performed your sales process or your sales presentation or whatever you do with it, whether you do email sequence, if you're internet marketing, etc. The more condensed, the more refined we can make this process, the more accurate with how to overcome the objections and how to offer and generate the interest the right way. The results will go up, and if you allow yourself to prejudge, then you're actually bringing some emotional intelligence into this, which is actually going to deteriorate what you do and the results you're going to get. So you know what? You've got to stop the prejudging. You know what? You always look at the new sales consultants when they come into any office and, they start selling. Usually in a lot of ways they sell, they jump out of the box and out of the gates and they start to perform at a really high level. It's because they don't know anything different. They don't know what objections the client may give you. They don't know, what the clients are going to say at this particular part. So they just go through the process because in a lot of cases they've been taught a process that works. It's not until they start to get into, a little bit further and they start to complicate it a bit, for example, and then they start to prejudge what the client is or isn't going to say, and then you watch the results deteriorate dramatically. So you've got to stop bloody prejudging your clients and just understand and trust that your process and your attitude is going to be at the top of the game on every single client or prospect that you see, and your results are going to increase. So you've got 4 weeks left of this quarter, and let's just throw the prejudging out the back and watch your results go up. Give every single client 100%. The best salespeople and the best business in the world, they give every single person, whether it be client, whether it be prospect, whether it be an ex-client, they give every single person 100% of their attention, and they don't prejudge ever. And that's why they're the number one sales consultant or the number one business in that service or that industry. So you need to make sure, and I'm harping on this, we've got to stop prejudging. We can't put any information into our client's mind. We can't think what they're going to think because guess what? At the end of the day, we have our process to run. So we've got to stop prejudging. You do that immediately, and guess what? You're going to start to see an upturn in results. Now, you may turn around and say, oh, look, I don't prejudge. You know what? I guarantee you do, so stop it. The second thing is we need to stop. You've got to stop making excuses. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, look, someone's process is a bit out, but you know what? At the end of the day, stop making excuses for your results. If you sit there and make excuses for your results, then guess what? You're going to have poor results. You get those salespeople, and you like that. You love that movie, right? Glenn Ross. And if you've been in sales, you probably watched it. You see them at the pub, and you got the two bottom salespeople bickering and moaning about the leads are shit and crap and things like that. And they're blaming and making excuses about everything else except for their own personal performance. They're not looking in front of the mirror. So at the end of the day, we've got to stop making excuses. And some of the excuses that people make, the clients have no money. That's a bollocks excuse. At the end of the day, where they purchase from you, or if they don't purchase from you, they only probably purchase from one of your competitors. They got the money. You probably prejudged them, which was our first thing. And then for you then turn around because you couldn't sell, and then you try to convince yourself that they had no money. So you want to try and make yourself feel better as a sales agent, and then to give your boss or your manager the excuse they had no money, so you'd walk away feeling all right for yourself. But deep down at the end of the day, you just didn't sell them. You didn't overcome their objections, or you didn't gain enough desire and want for them to say yes and actually go and find the money to purchase your product and service. So, at the end of the day, you don't stop kidding yourself in a sense. You need to be truthful with yourself to be able to have the excellence that you deserve. So therefore, we just can't make excuses. We need to examine ourselves first before we really go on. Other excuses, the economy's slow. I've heard this a bit lately. At the end of the day, people are still spending money. People are still buying houses. They're still buying cars. They're still spending money. So the economy is not slow. People maybe are spending the money in different places, but they're still spending money. So at the end of the day, if you've got a great sales process, is not prejudging, not making excuses, then they're going to be spending the money with yourself. Other things, heard this the other day, our product isn't as good as our competitors. Well, at the end of the day, every single product or service has its faults. And if you want to focus on the faults of your products and service, then you're gonna struggle at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what the products are. They're gonna, some have got faults. For example, you look at, say, McDonald's, for example. Do they have the best burgers in the world? They don't have the best burgers by any stretch of the imagination. They've got an absolute phenomenal process, and they've got great marketing, and they train their 15-year-olds how to upsell and how to cross-sell. Their processes are absolutely dynamic. They don't have the best product, but they sell an absolute shitload of it. So, at the end of the day, you don't need to have the best product, but you need to have the best processes. And that's up to you as a salesperson, as a business owner, to get those processes right. So the first two parts of this was stop prejudging and stop making excuses for yourself. You know what? At the end of the day, take some accountability and look at yourself in the mirror first before you blame the client or the prospect of why they didn't purchase, because the reason why they didn't purchase was because of you to start with. So you need to look in the mirror and find out the reasons why, because if you don't find those reasons why, then you're not going to get better and you're not going to get the results that you want and you desire that's going to give you the bonuses, the commissions, etc. The third part, if you want to have consistent results, and you don't want to sit here a month away from the end of the quarter and look at yourself and go, you know what, I may not hit my budget. In a lot of cases, salespeople don't train enough. You look at most industries, whether you go from accountants to builders to lawyers, they've always got ongoing education that they need to do to maintain certifications, etc. But as a sales agent, there's no training involved. There's no certification involved. And in a lot of cases, salespeople have a great month. And the reason why they had the great month was maybe because they were reading some books, they were setting their goals. They're doing the right things with their mind, their attitude. But as soon as they hit some results, 99% of sales agents stop doing what actually got them successful and got them those results because they think they've got it and it's really easy. And then within a month or two, their minds and their attitudes change and the doubts crept in and their confidence is reduced. And they're sitting there going, oh, look, nothing's changed in my life. But they haven't educated themselves and they haven't trained themselves consistently because sales is like every other profession. If you don't keep working at it, then you're actually going to fall down and people are going to overtake you and you're not going to be number one. So you need to make sure you consistently train yourself and educate yourself, whether it be product knowledge, whether it be sales training, whether it be motivation, whether it be business school, whether it be whatever it is, you need to make sure that you consistently train and you consistently educate yourself. And you need to read books and listen to podcasts and you need to do everything to keep your mind in the right place. And you need to understand the way that consumers purchase and the way that consumers spend and the way that patterns change over the years. And this is what great salespeople do. They consistently train and educate themselves. So therefore, they're always up with the times. Their mind's always in the right place. They're always focused. And you know what? At the end of the day, you'd never want to go and see a doctor who didn't keep up, their education. You wouldn't want to go and see, an accountant that didn't have the best, advice for your tax, etc. So why is anything different in your profession? Why is it different for you that you can not do any training at all but expect to have great results? You're not going to go and sit there and be a professional marathon runner if you never trained. And if you didn't train, then you'd never expect to be the best. And what's the difference now with your profession? If you don't train, then don't expect to be the best. Don't expect to maintain, your career and make sure and get ready to have a fluctuation where you're going to go from job to job because employers aren't going to want you if you don't want to sit there and put the effort in. So, at the end of the day, it comes back to yourself and what is it you really, really want? And, what are the goals and what are your income levels and what are your own expectations? Because at the end of the day, it's important that we keep educating ourselves. And, I get often, asked quite a lot, what's a great sales book to read? I'd always say, obviously, my book's the best one, Confessions of a Timeshare Salesman. It was number one on Amazon there for a bit in the business and sales. Although it's got the title about timeshare, it's a sales book. It runs through, the actual steps to the sale and how to overcome objections, how to do the statement of sale, etc. And it gives you some advanced selling strategies on really how to set your sale up. And, so therefore you don't get, the major objections at the end and you can really, increase those sales skills, but also increase your statistics, your average deal size, etc. So if you haven't read that, jump online on Amazon and or jump on the website. You can purchase that from there. All right, the fourth one is, how often do you hear a sales agent say that they're working really hard? I think you just about hear every single salesperson say they're working really hard. Here's the thing when it comes to sales agents. We don't work that hard. At the end of the day, we might work a lot of hours, but majority of salespeople don't work hard. So do this for one day. I challenge you this. Do this for one day. I want you to itemize what you do in every day and put into 15-minute blocks. What you do in each 15-minute block. And I guarantee at the end of the day, you're going to be a bit stunned on how many hours you might have been at work or away from home, but actually how much time out of the day you actually spent working. How many hours did you actually spend, increasing your budget or making money or getting referrals? I guarantee it's such a minimal part of the working hours. So break it down in 15-minute lots and do it for one day. And I guarantee you at the end of the day, when you go back and look, you're going to go, you know what? I'm wasting so much time. I'm wasting so much time today just doing absolutely nothing at all. So we've got to start to prioritize our day. And we need to really work effectively the time that we have, so therefore we can maximize the result. So I want you to do that challenge, and I want you to break the day up, because you're going to sit there and just go, oh my God, at the end of the day, I'm doing absolutely, out of 8 hours, I'm actually really working maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. So we need to sort of really strategize our day, because if you can do work effectively for 5 hours, better work for 5 hours. Don't be working 8. Or take the extra 3 hours and keep that momentum and increase those sales, increase the budgets, increase the prospects, do some cold calling, do whatever it takes then to increase what you have. But don't sit there and say that you're working hard, because I guarantee you're not. I guarantee you might be away from home for a fair majority of the day, but I guarantee that you're not working that hard. And the last one, the reason why I feel that salespeople don't hit the results, and what we need to really do if we want to smash out, this last bit of this quarter, is we need to stop fearing the unknown. Fear is a massive deterrent in sales. We sit there and go, we don't have enough leads. Okay, well, let's get on the phone and do some cold calls. But people, they don't want to do the cold calls. Well, let's go and let's jump the car and just go down the road and knock on a few doors, something that we haven't done, but they fear to go and knock on those doors, because at the end of the day, we're used to repetitiveness. We're used to doing the same thing over and over, but it's a bit like the insanity thing. We expect, a different outcome. But at the end of the day, if we want to increase our knowledge, we want to increase our numbers, we want to increase, the budgets, then we need to do things that we fear, and we need to do things that we probably never maybe done before, or maybe things that we never felt we're good at. So we need to really broaden our horizon and look at the ways that we can expand our knowledge and our resources. So, a lot of cases, people fear cold calling, but at the end of the day, it's a great way, and in a really short time frame, we can expand our business. We can expand the leads. A lot of people don't like doing follow-up, but at the end of the day, God, I tell you what, money's in the follow-up. So maybe get on the phone and follow up with every client that you have for the last 6 months and just say g'day and ask for some referrals. But we've got to stop fearing things that we don't like, because all it is because we don't have the knowledge to be good at it. But the way we get the knowledge is to experience it a few times and then get in there and do it. And then we get the education to enhance the skills. So then when we practice and we role play and we do it more often, we can become more comfortable and confident about it. So these 5 points today, to me, all sort of mold into one, because if we want to hit the numbers over the next month, we need to make sure that we do the main things we do consistently, and we got to do it consistently correct every single time. So we've got to stop that prejudging, get that out of the equation, stop bloody making excuses. Stop sitting there and saying the client couldn't afford it, because guess what? We just did a shit job, and we need to go back and be accountable for our own sales performances, so therefore we can get it right the next time. We need to make sure that we consistently train, because if we don't train, we're going to have results that go up and drop down dramatically. Go up, drop back down. And you know what? We need to make sure we have consistently an uptrend in our results. But that comes through training, educating, making sure that we get the information to get our mind right, consistently correct all the time. We need to understand that we think we're working hard, but really we're working. But all we're doing is wasting a lot of hours. So we need to make sure we prioritize our work and understand that when we're at work, let's work and let's itemize it. And let's make sure we keep the diary every single day of what we do and how much time we do, spending, whether it be prospecting or following up or sales calls and sales presentations. And let's keep a diary for a day, so we understand how much wasted time we have, that we can bring that back in and harness it. So therefore we can get those results and get that uplift. And then the last one, we need to make sure let's get the fear out of our equation. You know what? If you're not good at something or you fear something, just do it a few times and get used to it, because it's like anything. The more you do something, the easier it gets and the better you get. Then go and educate yourself on it if you're not sure how to do it, and then role play and then practice and then go out there and experience it again. And within a short time, what you're really fearful of, you probably are quite good at. And then you see the results take up from there. So, stop worrying about what ifs and maybes, and let's get in and do it, because you never know how great you're going to be until you get in there and do it a few times. So stop fear. Don't fear different things or change. We've got to make sure we're adaptable to change, and we've got to make sure that it can really look at different ways to hit your budgets, and look at different ways to really enhance and increase your revenues, your budgets, and your sales, etc. So, you know what? Stop fearing shit, and let's just get out there and do it. And then when you know what you need help with, then you can go and educate yourself on that. So this was today's York Talk. So everything sales and business. We're talking about how to really increase those sales for the next quarter, or the last bit of this quarter and the end of this financial year. So to me, it's really important. We didn't beat around the bush. You know, let's take accountability. The biggest lesson here is let's take accountability for your own actions, so therefore you know where we're heading. That to me is the biggest takeout of today's lesson. So guys and girls, my name is Wes York. I want to say thank you very much. If you want to find me, jump on Facebook. Obviously, this is Facebook Live, but we also then put this onto iTunes or go onto YouTube. You can jump on the website, wesyorksales.com. If you're looking for educational materials, we've got the Elite Sales Club, which is renowned to be one of the world's best online sales courses. You've got everything from how to overcome objections, advanced closing techniques, all the way through to how to sell via the phone. We look at other courses in there, which is your steps to the sale, how to have $1 million first impression, how to actually really create and agitate that problem, and then how to really then show your product and your service as the solution. So we've got heaps of different courses in there, but you can jump on wesyorksales.com and jump on the Elite Sales Club, and that runs through all the different courses. It's all online. You can access it from your phone, from your tablet, your computer. You can purchase it online, and you can actually, once you purchase it, you can access it virtually straight away. It sets the account up, and away you go. So jump on the wesyorksales.com and have a look at that as well. So my name is Wes York. Thank you again. We'll be back this time next week, 1 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you leave a comment. I can see Vesna's left a comment. Appreciate that. We've had heaps of likes, so thank you so much. Make sure you share this with your friends and family, and we'll be back. And if you want a topic, we say this each week, if you want a topic, make sure you send us an email or send us a direct message on Facebook. We get together through the week as our team, and we have a look, and then we sort of plan the next week York Talk in advance. So if you need anything, if you have anything that is really pressing right now, send us a message, and we'll have a look at it for you. So thank you again. My name is Wes York, and everyone have an absolute cracking week.